I'm Seow, and once again, welcome to another session of PRINCE2 Quickie, where we give you a quick rundown on various aspects of PRINCE2. In this session, we shall be talking about the business case, which is one of the themes in PRINCE2. Well, if you recall the principles that we covered earlier on in this kind of channel, you'll find that the principles talk about fundamental concepts and ideas which should be in a project, and the themes largely provide the mechanisms and more detailed information about how those things happen. Okay, now into business case. Okay, the business case drives a PRINCE2 project, so it is of paramount importance that the business case is always referred to, maintained, and kept up to date. Okay? You can see from the slide, we've already referred just now to the fact that there's a link between the business case and the continued business justification principle. Okay, there's a justifiable reason to start the project, so it is very important that some ideas in the business case is considered right in the beginning before the project even starts. And when you're doing the detailed planning for the project, the full business case is done. We shall see that in a minute. The justification should remain viable throughout the project, and we do not wait until the end of the project before finding out that the business case has or has not been achieved. Okay. Don't forget that it's also important to have some degree of documentation to, to act as a basis on which to show that the justification for the projects was properly considered and properly maintained. Okay? Basically, the business case provides the mechanism to judge whether the project was viable in the first place, and that it continues to be desirable as it goes through its various stages right until the end. Now this thing gives you a quick overview of the different parts of PRINCE2. You need to know what the reasons for the projects is, you need to know what the estimated costs is, as well as the expected benefits. Of course, risk is always there against the achievability of the project. The viability is also considered together with achievability. Can that projects be achieved as you go along, various parts of the projects over the timeline. Remember, the business case is developed right at the start of the projects. It has to be maintained. Any updates to it, any situation that may affect business case, for better or for worse, has to be considered, documented, and very often be approved by the project board as you go through the various stages. And the stage assessments, okay, will always consider the business case. Okay. Now, the business cases, you can see that the numbers there 4.2.1 refers to the sections of the manual, by the way. Yeah, view of the desirability, viability, and value of the projects. Okay, is the projects worthwhile? That's the thing you consider. Management products. The business case document is a management product, and just a quick recap of the fact that there are two kinds of products. In PRINCE2, management products refers to the kind of largely documentation that's used in PRINCE2, whereas specialist products are the products that the project is going to deliver as the fundamental reason for the projects to support the project. Yeah, it might be a software system, a building, change situation, initiative, whatever. Yeah. So it's a blend of relevant information that is put together in the business case. It's not just the financial calculations, it's other things as well. Now check the manual for what those is. Okay, here's a quick rundown of the evolution of the business case from the beginning to the end of the project. Okay, the executive is responsible for the business case. Now, it doesn't mean that the executive does all the work to kind of prepare the documentation of the business case, but he or she is responsible for making sure that it exists and that it is properly developed and maintained. Okay? The project mandate, of course, comes from what we generally in the project management circle refers to as the project sponsor. Yeah, that can be refers to all kinds of job titles, but you know what that is. Okay? The project mandate is the first documents, that is either black and white, maybe even verbal in some situations, received by the appointed executive, yeah, who then forms the project management team together with the project manager that he or she appoints. The outline business case is the term we use for the kind of generalized relatively generalized business case that is produced in starting up a project. Starting up a project, as you will see later on when we talk about processes, is the pre-project process, where we do a quick kind of figuring out as to whether it's worthwhile to proceed in the detailed planning of the projects. That happens in the initiation stage of the project. And those kind of little figures, you see that those 4 people sitting around the table, that refers to basically the project board. The project board authorizes initiation, okay, which is taking the initial, the outline business case and looking at it, and trying to look at the the viability of even starting these projects. So once the authorization for initiation has been given by the project board, then as part of the initiating a project stage, first stage of any PRINCE2 projects, together with all the strategy considerations and all that, the full business case is prepared at that point in time. And it's no surprise to say that while you're developing the full business case, it has to be iteratively done together with the other aspects of initiating a project, which we'll look at when we look at initiating a project process. So at the end of that, the project board again needs to authorize the project. So this is the main detailed planning analysis work before the actual project of producing the specialist product starts. Yeah. So this is a kind of sequence of development of the business case. And once the project has started, the project proper has started, from the second stage onwards, where the specialist products are being produced, you'll find that the business case has to be verified and maintained throughout. Yeah, it's reviewed at various parts of it. So here again is a different way of looking at it. At the end of starting up a project, the project board approves it at the end of initiating a project, just like in the kind of row above. The project board would approve the main business case together with the rest of the documents in initiating a project. Yeah? And the project manager, as part of impact analysis, what does that mean? That means that as the project runs its course through various stages, the project manager would, whenever he's faced with issues and newly discovered risks or risks that has been triggered off or made more severe perhaps, he always looks at the business case and how do these issues and these risk elements affect the business case, and if necessary he would need to escalate it to the project board for their consideration. Yeah. Now, in tandem with an exception plan, the project board would consider the business case. An exception plan is when the kind of project has gone off track as far as the degree of authority given to the project manager is concerned, right? So given that once it exceeds the tolerance given to him, the project manager would have to escalate the issue to senior management. Yeah. So, and he may be asked to produce an exception plan when that happens. Yeah. At the end of every stage, if things go well and there hasn't been an escalation that requires an exception plan to replace the current stage plan, then at the end of each stage, the project manager again has the responsibility to check what has happened throughout this stage and against the business case to ensure that the viability of the project remains on track. And at the final stage, again, the project manager has to consider how has the project performed against the business case and report that to senior management. Oop, there goes the timer. Time's up. So let's move. I'll just give a quick whiff-through. You can read that at your leisure. Again, wouldn't insult you by reading every single line to you. Okay. And with that, we've come to the end of the business case theme. And as usual, if you have any comments, do write to me at the email attached to this particular video. With that, I wish you bye-bye until we meet again in considering the next theme in PRINCE2. Bye-bye.